The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Schaap. You may know me from ESPN's Outside the Lines and Sports Center. What you probably don't know is that I've suffered from Crohn's disease for almost 20 years. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America's Take Steps, Be Heard walk program is the largest national walk program dedicated to raising funds and awareness to combat Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. To learn more about how you can help and to find a walk site near you, please visit www.cctakesteps.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hi, I'm Hillary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. It's Rod Eccles.
Good Tuesday morning to you, ecclesiastites and liberty lovers all across the globe. Yes, it is I, your lovable host, El Rod, coming to you live this Tuesday, March number 21, the year of our Lord 2017, as I broadcast from the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. The call-in number this morning is 603-835-3226. Again, that's 603-835-3226. You got a lot on our plate again this morning. This, folks, you got to understand something. Now, I know everybody probably that listens to this program probably listens to, two or three other talking heads out there on a daily basis. And I am not telling you not to do that. Not at all. And in fact, I encourage it. Find other talk shows to listen to besides this one. I'm not in competition with them, obviously. They're on at a different time than I am, but it's always good to have more than one perspective. The problem is that most of the other big talking heads, they're all talking about the same thing. So, if you listen from, Rush Limbaugh from noon to whoever you listen to throughout the day till 6 p.m., I mean, it could be Sean Hannity or Howie Carr or anybody else who's on at 3 to 6. The problem is you get 6 hours of the same thing. Now, I fully understand that what is going on in Washington, D.C. is very important, that we all need to understand and know what the hell is going on down there. Donald Trump is in the middle of a battle, an epic battle royale. There is no doubt about it. None whatsoever. However, I know that a lot of this topic about Trump is going to get covered nauseatingly so from sunup to sundown, which is why I try to diverge from that specific topic, not because I don't know what I'm talking about. I got that yesterday. You're just afraid to tackle the tough topics, Rod. Really? I tackle stuff that nobody else does that's even just as important as all that other stuff. But I tackle it simply because I'm not beholden to anybody. And I also think that there are a lot of times I provide solutions where I don't No, I take it back. Sean Hannity offers solutions, but his solutions are kind of boilerplate. Now, I'm not disrespecting Sean at all. I'm saying he's one of the few that actually offers real solutions to certain problems. And he talks about them a lot. You know, like he's highly in favor of health savings accounts. Well, I got to tell you, I'm not. I'm not in favor of health savings account. Here's why. Because it is something that the government says that you get to do with the government permission. When it comes to health care, I want the government out. There is no alternative plan except for the government to repeal. There is no replace. Now, even Hannity is on this replacement kick. I am not on a replacement kick. There is no reason, constitutionally or extra-constitutionally, for our federal or state governments to be involved in our healthcare choices. The problem is that these people have all been bought and paid for by certain aspects of our society that promotes this garbage. Health savings accounts are not the answer. They're not. And I will take Sean Hannity to the mat on this every single time. Why? Because it is a government-sponsored program. You get certain government kickbacks or certain government tax write-offs if you have a health savings account. Bullshit. Get the government out of my health care, period. They don't belong there. It is not the place for them to be, period. So when everybody's looking at what's going on in Washington, D.C., and this is where Donald Trump is making a mistake as well. And oh, Rod, you're just all about Donald Trump. No, I'm not all about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is making a mistake. I told people this when he was running. Donald Trump was all for repeal and replace. I was against repeal and replace. I'm still against repeal and replace because it means that if they're going to replace it, they're going to put some other government programs in place, which means at a later date they will, because they always do, they will reformulate and add to the regulation that ends up controlling us all over again. And you idiots out there, I'm calling you out on the mat. You're idiots if you think the government can honestly replace the current Obamacare. No, it needs to be completely repealed, and we need to get out of it. That means we also need, and here it comes, folks, we also need to dump Medicare and Medicaid. Now, if you're already getting the services of Medicare and Medicaid, I'm not advocating that we kick you to the curb. But just like Social Security, no new recruits. It's inefficient, it's ineffective, and it's too expensive. What is the solution, then, you're probably asking? Well, what's the solution? You're yelling at everybody, telling you don't want this, and you just want small government. You don't want government to take care of anybody. No, I don't want the government to take care of anybody. I don't. Because the government is not designed to take care of anybody. It has done a piss poor job since government decided back during FDR that it was going to start taking care of the American people. We have not diminished poverty. In fact, in some states and in some areas, poverty has increased with the government taking care of people. Let me ask you, do you think Native Americans and Native American reservations are very happy that the government is taking care of them? I mean, we have high poverty on Native American reservations. We have high poverty. We have malnutrition. We have an extraordinarily high rate of alcoholism. All because those people are what? Being taken care of by our government. Is that a success? No. That's why I want the government out. Now, I have still yet to hear anybody explain to me the difference between health insurance and every other kind of insurance out there. Why is it that I can go into the private sector and buy any kind of other insurance that I want to buy across state lines and in many cases across country lines with no problems or issues whatsoever? But when it comes to me wanting to get health insurance, I've got all kinds of roadblocks, governmental roadblocks, put in my way. Why? So this whole notion that we need to repeal and replace it with things like health savings accounts is a bunch of bullshit. It is the wrong way to go. And this is why all of this repeal stuff is getting bogged down in Washington right now with all the Republicans, because you got too many Republicans who are thinking, well, we got to replace. No, you don't got to replace. We don't need the Rand Paul, Sean Hannity healthcare savings accounts. Why? Because that's government still in your back pocket. You don't need it. You need to be left alone to go into the open market should you want to. Well, what happens with people who get sick and don't have it? Well, what happens to people who get in a car accident and don't have car insurance? Okay, they're going to have to pay for it. Somehow, some way, they got to pay. So this is another thing that is being misconstrued out there. Health insurance is not health care. Health insurance is not health care. And it is, companies are not, insurance companies are not created to pay your bills. Let me see if I can one more time explain on a simplistic level exactly what insurance is. You go out and now you may not like the terminology, but this is exactly the way it works. You buy homeowners insurance. And you have fire, to protect your house against fire. Are you protecting your house against fire? No, you're not. Your house can still burn whether you have fire, homeowners insurance or not. Your house is still can burn. Can it not? Can we all agree that people who have that have homeowners insurance, their houses have burned down, and people without homeowners insurance, their houses have burned down? Correct. So people with and without homeowners and fire insurance, their houses have burned down. Okay, great. So did you buy insurance to protect your house against fire? No. You bought the insurance to protect yourself, you and your family, from the financial loss of having a fire. You lost everything else because it burned. But you have the insurance to pay for the damages to be repaired or rebuilt should you have a fire. So you're protecting yourself against a financial loss. So this is what you were saying when you approach a homeowner's insurance company. You're saying, Mr. Insurance Person or hello, homeowner's insurance company, I am betting that during the policy period, which is usually about a year, I am betting that during this policy year, I am going to have a devastating fire that you're going to have to cover. Here is, $1,500 for the year. I am betting this $1,500 that I am going to need you to pay out more than $1,500. The insurance company looks at you back and says, I'll take that bet because I'm betting because you don't want to lose all your stuff to a fire. I am betting I'll take that bet and say that you are not going to need my money and my services over the next year, the length of this policy. So over the next 12 months, there's a battle. And the battle is a gambling battle. Now, the insurance company will probably send you all kinds of stuff to try to remind you about turning off, certain things and not putting flammable things next to a flame source, to try to remind you to not let your house burn down. They'll still spend, $50 or so over the year, just sending you nice, informative stuff about how to make your house more safe from fire. You, You're going to get this stuff, and you're going to read it, and you're going to say, yeah, this makes sense. We're going to take these precautions because you don't want stuff to burn down. You don't want to lose all your pictures and your memorabilia and your furniture, stuff that you can't replace. That's your great-grandmother's sewing machine table is in one corner in the room, and if that burns, you can't replace that. Sure, you can replace the TV, but you can't replace great-grandma's sewing table. That's an antique. It's a family heirloom. So you don't want to lose it. So you're going to follow the advice, fire prevention advice from your insurance company because you don't want to have to use their service. Insurance company sure as hell doesn't want you to use their service. They don't. Because if you do, that means they have to pay out most likely more than that $1,500 payment that you gave them. Which means what? They'll lose money. Insurance companies are not in the business to lose money. So they're going to try to convince you, and you're going to convince yourself willingly to take care of your stuff so it does not burn. Thus, they don't have to pay out. That is health insurance. You go to a health insurance company and say, I am going to get so sick that you're going to have to pay. Here is my premium for the year. The health insurance company is going to say, we'll take that bet because we don't think you're going to get sick within the next year. So we're not going to have to pay out. And that health insurance company is going to be sending you all kinds of stuff, maybe even give you a little bit of perks, every month or so to help give you tips on how to stay healthy. Why? Because do they really care about your health? Well, maybe they do, but the reality is they don't want you getting sick, so they have to pay out anything. Because if they have to pay out and cover your medical expenses, what happens? They lose money. They're in business to make money, not lose it. So this whole notion about this pre-existing condition crap, all it means is that you're transferring wealth and you're forcing somebody else to pay your bills. That's not health insurance. And the reason why the government did this is because this proves that the government knows how expensive medical care can be when the government gets involved. And so because it is so expensive, the government is now trying to foist the bill onto the private sector. And the way they do it is by saying pre-existing condition is no longer allowed. So they're forcing the private sector to go along with the public sector to pay this enormous bill that should not be paid except by the people who are getting sick. And these people would not have run out of coverage if they could have bought the coverage on their own, regardless of the job they had. So if they lost a job or moved a job, they wouldn't have lost their health care insurance, so there wouldn't be any pre-existing condition issue whatsoever. They never would have lost their coverage. The reason why people have pre-existing conditions is because they lose their coverage because, one, they lose their job either voluntarily or involuntarily. And involuntarily means they either get laid off, they get fired, the company closes, goes bankrupt, whatever. For whatever reason, they lose their job and thus they lose their health insurance. Because the health insurance is tied to their company, not to them. Although their auto insurance, their home insurance, and their life insurance is tied to them, their health care insurance is not. So that's why we have these want to have these laws against pre-existing condition. And I don't see anybody out there, and I don't hear anybody out there telling the government to get the hell out of our way and stop with this pre-existing condition crap, stop with this health savings account crap, and just get the government out of our back pocket and out of our health care period, because they're not involved in our homeowners insurance, they're not involved in our car insurance, they're not involved in our life insurance. So why the hell do they think that they can get involved in our health insurance, one of the most important decisions of each and every individual American's life? Simply because they're anti-American and they want to be socialist, they want to be communist, and they want to control you. It is time that the American people say, no replace, just freaking repeal already.
You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
One of the things you don't want to do is you don't want to open the door to additional regulation. You don't want to open the door to that. And when you invite somebody into your living room, basically, and into your doctor's office, basically, you're inviting them to be able to regulate what you do in that living room and in that doctor's office. And you know, everybody thinks, well, no, I can do what I want with my body. No, you can't. I find this amazing. You know, you can have a major surgery called an abortion. Because why? Oh, because you got these feminist women out there who are saying, well, nobody should be able to tell me what to do with my body. And yet, everything else about their health care is dictated to them. And they have no problem with that. That is the most asinine, hypocritical thing I've ever heard. And I know you can probably say, well, I'll reverse it on you, Rod. You know, you're out there, you're pro-life, so you're saying that I have to have a baby. I'm saying damn right, because it's a human being. And if you abort that child for no reason, that's murder. And why is it we have a double standard on that? If a man or a woman kills a pregnant woman, and that woman decided that she wanted to have the child, well, now that's two people that you killed instead of one. But if the woman didn't want to have the child, say she was on her way to the abortion clinic, oh, now you just murdered one person. How is that? No. Pregnant women, whether or not she's going to the abortion clinic, she gets what? The murderer gets what? Gets slapped with 2 murders. So the prosecution doesn't care that the mom didn't want the child and was going to abort it. So the mom was going to be able to legally murder, while the murderer is going to go to jail for 2 life sentences for murdering two people, one unborn and the mom. How does that make any sense? Anyone? Anyone? Can anyone? Nobody. That doesn't make any sense at all. So it's the same thing with our health care. You want to let these people into your home and into your doctor's office. But Rod, it's only a health savings account, man. Why don't you save the money anyway? What is preventing you from saving the money? Do you know what a health savings account is? A health savings account is an account that you can only use for medical expenses. Sure, you can go to the store and buy cough syrup with it, but it's only used for medical expenses. If the government says if you put it into a health savings account and you use it for anything else, you are going to get heavily taxed on that. So they're regulating how you spend your money. You want to tell me that that's the answer?
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
Welcome back, 603-835-3226. If you now, I asked this question a lot. If for people who want government out of their daily lives, why do they want government stuck in their healthcare decision? I don't know. I don't want there to be three people or three entities in the examination room. And you're probably well, what do you mean three entities, Rod? Me, my doctor, and the government. I just want it to be me and my doctor. Now, I'm not getting on this because I need to go to the doctor. I don't. I'm as far as I know, I'm healthy as a horse. Anybody know where that saying comes from? Healthy as a horse. In any case, I don't need to be in a doctor's office right now. I probably should go for a physical or what have you. You get a certain age, you're supposed to do certain things. I'm not even sure all that's actually accurate, but okay. But if I want to go to the doctor and get an exam and a physical, why should somebody else pay for that? That's what government is trying to advocate, and that's what some people who are advocating this replace idea is advocating, is for somebody else to pay. And if you don't spend, and they're also, now I'm calling Sean Hannity out. What Sean Hannity is advocating is he's advocating the government to be able to dictate how you spend a portion of your money. And if you put your money into a health savings account, you're saying that the government is now locking that up where it can only be spent for health issues. And if you try to spend it on something else, they're going to fine the hell out of you for it. But wait a minute, you're saying, it's my money. Well, evidently not. And you're thinking, well, I earned it. I'm the one that traded hours for dollars. Has anybody ever really stopped to think about that as well? If you're a salaried or an hourly employee, doesn't matter which, you are basically trading hours, your life hours, for dollars. Now there's nothing inherently wrong with it, but understand it. You can't get the time back. Saving time is a misnomer. You can't save time to, like you can save money and utilize it later. It's always being spent. Time is always being spent, whether you sit down and do nothing all day long, and sometimes we need to do that. We just need to, even I do it. Just, maybe one day a month, you just sit down and you do absolutely nothing. But you know what? I can't look back and say, well, I wasted an entire day, because I can't get that day back. Ever. So you're trading your time for dollars, which means the dollars that you earn are extremely, very extremely valuable. And you are then saying that you're going to let the government dictate how you spend your valuable time on this planet. You are willing to let the government dictate how you can spend your time. I don't care if you make $10 an hour or $100 an hour. You're letting the government. If you make $10 an hour and your medical bill is $100, you're letting the government dictate how you spend 10 hours of your life. If you make $100 an hour, obviously you're letting the government dictate how you spend 1 hour of your life. Do you want the government dictating how you spend even 1 minute of your life? Then why the hell do you want them to dictate how you spend your money on health care? And there is a if you look at some people under Obamacare, in some families of 4 or 5, they have 2 or 3 kids, and their monthly premium, this is for health insurance. In some cases, depending on what state they're in and how many kids they may have, health insurance has become the most expensive item on their list, exceeding housing and food costs, and in some cases, exceeding housing and food costs combined. Think about that for a second. You got people who are paying $2,000 a month for health insurance. They're paying $500 a week. They're not even spending that on the rent or mortgage on their house. And yet we have allowed our government to dictate the biggest expense on our plate. We've allowed the government to do that. And you still have people advocating for the government to be able to do that. And I'm telling you right here and right now, you need to get on board with this repeal, no replace. And you need to let your legislatures, your congressmen and your senators know that it's a repeal. There is no need to replace. You can take it from here because you've got a bunch of rhinos who think that you're too freaking stupid to take care of yourself. You need the government somehow to tell you how to take care of yourself. And that's what this whole repeal, replace thing is all about, which is why it is so bogged down, because you have 2 or 3 different factions out there within the Republican Party, that, let's forget the Democrats, just within the Republican Party, that have different ideas on how to tell you how to do your health care. And they all think that theirs is right. Let me tell you the only right and correct answer, and do not doubt me, is repeal, no replace. The only correct answer is for government to drop any new patients from Medicare or Medicaid, period. That's it. If there is a need, and I will acknowledge that some people do need some assistance, it should be done on a state level, not federal government. There should be no block grants going back to states, because you know what that means? It means that the federal government is overtaxing us. If they have the money to give back to the states, why take it in the first place? Cut the taxes. Let the states handle it. Get the federal government and get most government out of your health care if you truly cannot afford to go to the doctor. There are programs already in place that can help you. Some of them are private and some of them are public. But they're done at a local and a state level, not the federal level. Repeal, no replace. That is the only possible right answer. Period. No healthcare savings accounts. Sean Hannity and Rand Paul are wrong on that. And you can tell them I said so. And I will explain it to them just like I explained it to you, so they will both understand it. And trust me, they already understand it. They know what the deal is. Why Hannity supports it, I'll never know. Why Rand Paul supports it, I know why, because he's not that type of libertarian that everybody thinks that he is. He's not, folks. Wake up. There is this legend about Rand Paul that he takes after his daddy, Ron Paul, and he's this ultra libertarian. Rand Paul is not an ultra libertarian. He's not. Sorry. People need to wake up to the fact. But he's Rand. I don't care who the hell he is. I'm looking at his policies and what he supported and not supported. He's not an ultra libertarian. Sure, he's for smaller government. There's a difference between small government and smaller. And considering the size of the current government, just about anybody could be for smaller government, but it doesn't mean that they are necessarily for small government. You better wake up to this stuff. There is a difference. I know people get twisted because of how the lamestream media and even how some of the talking heads. This is why you need to listen to this program, because I'll straighten it all out for you. I will straighten it. I will clear it all up. I'm not going to hold my punches or hold back. What we've got going now is a bunch of obfuscation going on out there that's confusing the hell out of the American people. And that's even, I mean, we're caught up in this mess with this. Folks, do you realize how badly we are being manipulated right now with this? This is why I don't want to talk about the whole government probe and wiretapping issue anymore. There's nothing there. Do you people realize that there's nothing there? You are being manipulated away from the things that matter. What are the things that matter? Well, it isn't about this Russian hacking crap that didn't happen, but it's still dominating everything. You're being manipulated. Here's what's important that they don't want you to pay attention to: the healthcare repeal and replace issue. Yeah, they don't want you to really paying attention to that. Oh, no. They don't. The whole notion that Donald Trump still doesn't have his cabinet in place, and he's more than halfway through his first 100 days in office. This is shameful. And they want to try to tell you, well, Democrats are slowing the process down. Bullshit. That's not the case. Do you hear anybody talking about the fact that Donald Trump doesn't have his cabinet in place yet? No. This is shameful. We're still talking about the wiretapping of Trump Tower. Well, Trump needs to give us some evidence and proof. Hey, how about the fact that there are leaks going on that nobody seems to want to find out? Trump, all of a sudden, Trump's voice on this has been drowned out. Hey, Comey, you had an investigation going since July into Donald Trump and his possible collusion with the Russians, but you can't seem to find out who the damn leakers are and bring them to justice because they're doing something illegal. So again, the American people are being obstructed or are being, our eyes are being diverted away from the fact that the Donald Trump administration is being undermined from within by illegal acts from people that we do not know who they are. Maybe we do know who they are. We like to call them the shadow government of Barack Obama. And is Barack behind any of this? Well, I think we could find out if we just find the leaker. If we find who's ever leaking all this stuff illegally on the Trump administration, then I'm sure, we could find out a lot of other. Maybe we could find the answer to the wiretapping, all the wiretapping and collusion and everything else. I'm sure we could. But there's a giant obfuscation going on that the lamestream media and the Democrats and the rhinos do not want you paying attention to. So they're going to keep this stupid, hey, Mr. Trump, give us the evidence for why. We know that there were at least 2 or 3 FISA court requests and a couple of FISA court approvals to wiretap the president. Well, not when he was president, when he was a nominee. Even before, obviously, Comey just admitted before he was even the official nominee. And he's supposed to give evidence? Well, where's the evidence that you needed to do this? There wasn't any. It was a witch hunt from the start. This is nothing more than, I guarantee. Go ahead and listen to the talking heads today. Pay attention to this. They are going to focus on the wiretapping, who wiretapped, when they wiretapped, why they wiretapped. They're going to talk about, well, the difference between, monitoring and wiretapping, which is another bunch of bullshit because it's all the same damn thing. You're not going to hear a lot about what's happening with repeal and replace. You're not. You're not going to hear a lot about what's happening, what's going on with North Korea. You're not. All this talk is going to be about, what's happening in D.C. and how and how everybody's talking about the wiretapping and the leaking, and nobody wants to find out who the leaker is except for maybe Donald Trump. Everybody else could care less. Oh, no big deal. It's no big. Oh, they're only breaking the law, but hey, no big deal. We have the evidence that somebody's leaking classified and semi-classified materials to the public in an illegal manner. And nobody cares to go and find out who it is. Yet, we're all supposed to wonder, well, is it true? Did Donald Trump get his, phone tapped or wiretapped? Or if he did, where's the proof? Where's the evidence? How come we don't know the evidence? How come he won't present it? Well, we've got evidence of a crime that already took place. And nobody wants to go after these people. And nobody wants to talk about it. And when they do talk about this kind of stuff, they want to tell you, well, we still need a little bit of government involved in our lives. Hey, if that's what you want, then get behind Sean Hannity and Rand Paul and go for government health savings accounts. They can tell you how to spend your money that way too. Why not?
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
A couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Call Rod now, 603-835-3226. Lines are open.
So what do you think? Do you think I'm a little bit off on this? Do you have a different view of the alternative plans out there for healthcare? Do you think I'm off in thinking that the government needs to get out of it? Do you think I'm wrong in saying that health savings accounts are a bad idea? Do you think the government should be able to dictate the types of health insurance plans that you can get? I mean, I have mentioned it before. I used to have something called a major medical plan or a catastrophic health plan. Those plans, all of those plans that I used to have, are illegal today under Obamacare. I can't get them. They covered me and did what I wanted them to do for a reasonable annual premium that I was willing to pay. Now I can't get them. Do you think that's right and that's fair? I was happy with what I had. I wanted to go to the doctor any other time, go get a physical, $180, $250. I paid it out of my pocket, no big deal. I didn't care about some $20 deductible. I had to go to the doctor with a $20. Screw that. I just paid I only went to got a physical once every couple of years. So they're $150 or whatever it was, $250. Great. No big deal. I was able to pay it. Okay, great. You're healthy. Yeah, thank you. I know. I eat right. Drink a lot of wine, because red grapes are good for you. All right? Good for the heart. And I used to exercise like crazy. I don't do as much of that anymore, but I used to. So yeah, I was healthy as a horse. So why would I have needed to buy all of this extra coverage and spend, instead of $250 for every couple of years for a physical, I would have spent like $500 a month for health insurance. Why would I want to do that? Well, what happens if you get hospitalized and get cancer? Well, that's what my major medical program was all about. If I got really sick and got hospitalized or needed ongoing care, my catastrophic health care plan was going to cover me, and it cost me about $700 a year. How about I just have a healthcare savings account on my own? How about if I just went to the bank and said, "Okay, Mr. Banker, let's set up a wonderful account for me, and I'm just going to. It's kind of like a Christmas savings account." But the government doesn't get to tell me how to spend it. I get to decide how I spend it. You know what? I think I'm going to explore this. When we get back from the break, I'm going to tell you exactly how you can do this all on your own without government. And then you're not going to like the government version.
America is America because it is so American. The children, they are the future of children, and she loves the children. Diversity is diverse when diversity is diversified. For a future you can see, for a future that brings with it all the hopes of tomorrow. By doing everything we did yesterday, we need a leader, we need a champion, we need her.
Vote for me! It's enough now! Give me it! It's mine! I want it! Just give me it! I want it now!
Stop asking questions and just give it to her already. Or you're a sexist racist.
Paid for by criminals and idiots for Hillary Clinton, because let's face it, you'd have to be one or the other to vote for this complete monster.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding, or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
And now, live from the bunkerized studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, is Rod Eccles.
Good morning, hour number 2, right here on the Rod Eccles Show. I know some people are probably asking, well, geez, is Rod in a good mood this morning? Actually, no, I'm not. I've been in better moods. Let me put it to that. I've been in worse moods, but I've been in better moods. Anyway, the call-in number this morning is 603-835-3226. That's 603-835-3226. As we broadcast from the bunkerized studio right here out of the great granite state of New Hampshire. Now, folks, if you want, let me tell you exactly how you would be better off if you didn't have a government-sponsored health care savings account. Frankly, it shouldn't even take long to everybody knows what a Christmas account is. They used to be bigger. There used to be a time when banks really touted the Christmas savings account, the holiday savings account. They don't do so all that much anymore because credit cards are so big. Yeah. They'd rather you go and get their credit card and put everything, charge it. Remember that from the Flintstones? I know I'm going back in time. When Betty and Wilma, they what was their saying? Charge it. The problem with charging everything is that you still have to pay for it. And you end up paying more for it than you would if you just saved for it. So basically what you have in Christmas accounts, and this is small amounts, I understand, but this is something you might want to think about this year. But if you do a Christmas savings account for a year, let's just say it's just 50 weeks, but if you just put $10 a week, every paycheck, every weekend there, you realize that you have, you got $1,000 or so. With the interest, they give you a paltry rate of return on interest, but you still get some interest on that. Now think of it this way. You're not paying interest on a credit card bill, but you're gaining interest, even if it's just a small amount, on the money that you put away, that you save, just for Christmas and gifts. So, you could not. Did I say $1,000 on 10? No, 50 weeks times 10 is $500. But and the average person spends about $700 a year on Christmas gifts. Well, if you've already saved, painlessly throughout the year, just $5 or $10 a week, and you end up with $500, Do you think it's going to be a little bit easier just to come up with an extra $100 or $200? Well, for a lot of people, yeah. And but that gives you options, does it not? And you could. And how about this? Instead of putting $700 on your credit card for Christmas, you only put $100 on it. Will it be a little bit easier to pay off? I think it would. Well, what if you did the same thing for your health care? Now let's just take, for example, I don't know if most of us know this anymore, but we used to be told a lot that we needed to have an emergency savings account. And that emergency savings account, depending on the financial guru or the financial expert, you were supposed to have any liquid assets or savings equal to 3 to 6 months of your bills. Not income, but bills. So let's just say that if 3 months of bills that you have, your rent and your food and your gas for your car and all your monthly bills. If over a 3-month period that those bills total $10,000, you're supposed to have $10,000 in savings. Now, what the problem is, a lot of people looked at it and said, "Well, geez, 6 months to a year. I mean, that's like 20 or 30 grand. I could never save that." So people never did it. And so we were told, you know what? This is what you need to do. You need to have at least 3 months. Start out with getting a month in the bank that you don't touch. That's for emergency use only. And then move to save it till you get to 3 months. And what happens when you have 3 months? Well, let's say your car needs a new transmission. Well, you don't have to worry about it because you already have it. Let's say you lose your job. Well, you have more than 3 months. Because why? Because you're getting unemployment insurance benefits for at least that period of time. So that's going to stretch out that 3 months and possibly make it 5 or 6 months. Do you think you breathe easier knowing that you have your bills covered for 3 to 6 months? Do you think you'd breathe easier knowing that if something were to happen to your car, you'd be able to pay for it? It needed a new transmission, $2,000. No problem. You have the $2,000. You've got everything. This is where we've gone wrong. And I've fallen down on this myself over the years. But this is where we've gone wrong. We've gone for this instant karma, instant gratification, spend everything now. So when somebody says, well, maybe we should come up with some health savings account, people think, well, it's not a bad idea, but I need to have somebody tell me that I can't spend it on something else. So therefore, the government needs to get involved and says that if I spend it on anything other than medical expenses, they're going to take more of it away from me. It's called self-discipline. It's not hard to do, actually. Everybody thinks, well, I need to have this now, I need to have that. It's not really hard to be self-disciplined when it comes to money. It's really not. You just have to decide what you want. The hardest part about self-discipline is deciding on what you really want. Because once you decide what you really want, all the other stuff becomes irrelevant to you. Just ask anybody who's, you want that job, you're going to do whatever you have to do to get that particular job, aren't you? All the other stuff, getting these other side jobs and all that kind of... You're not interested in that if it's not helping you get your dream job. But if your dream job means that you have to be in the mailroom for a month, what are you going to do? You're going to go and get the job in the mailroom for the month so you can get because that's the way to lead to your dream job, and you don't have a problem with that. People have a problem with that is when they get stuck in places is when they get to the mailroom and realize that the mailroom is a dead end and isn't going to lead to their dream job. Then that's when they get undisciplined and upset. But that's the case. You just gotta be self-disciplined. You gotta decide what you really want. So therefore, if you want to have good health and be able to take care of your basic health care needs, Now, I'm not talking about catastrophic stuff, but just your basic health care needs. You don't need government in there, mucking up the works and making things more expensive. Have a savings account. Look, you know how easy it is to do this today? I mean, you don't even need to have multiple bank accounts. You don't have to have multiple ones. You can do everything with one or two accounts, and all this personal accounting stuff that they have, from Quicken to Money and all the others out there, even online and offline, it doesn't matter. Hell, even a lot of banks now have their own types of accounting systems online. I know one of my banks does. And another bank of mine, they bring every single account that I can access online under one roof. Now, I don't do that, but the ability's there. So I have that bank, but then that bank will reach out to any account that I so assign to this bank, and it'll put it all in one place. So when I go to that one bank, I can actually see what's in every other account at other institutions, credit cards, savings accounts, and banks, and what have you, including investments. It can all be right on one page if I want that. Now, for security and safety reasons, I don't do that. But I could. Because they've made it so easy. It's just it takes no time at all. If you want to set up multiple goals within one account, I've got one bank that does that for you online. With one savings account, you could have multiple goals in there and advocate and put where the money should go into those goal areas without having more than one account. It's really that easy. I mean, gone are the days where you had to do everything by hand and on paper. And you had to have ledgers, and all that stuff is done for you, and it can be done in one spot on just about any kind of financial software. And many banks offer this kind of software for free. So the excuse is gone, folks. You have more power than ever to take. It is unbelievable. The more power that we have to take control of our own lives with all of these wonderful tools that are free, on and offline. Yet and still, the more we decide that we want government to take care of us, how insane is that? So when I say that we don't need government-sponsored healthcare savings accounts, that is why we don't need them. The only reason it is there is to give you some sort of false notion that you are in control of your own destiny. But the reality is that when you operate outside the parameters of the government rules, they will slap the hell out of you. And then you'll have the Supreme Court backing them up saying, oh yeah, they can do that because it's a tax. They're not forcing you to buy anything. They're not forcing you to do anything that is unconstitutional. But hey, if you don't do it, it's a tax. So in reality, we can tell you that you have to buy something or not buy something or how to buy something or how much to buy something. Because if you don't follow our rules, then we're just going to tax you on it. It's a fine, but they're going to call it a tax. And the government has endless taxing powers, right? So you want the government to be able to tax the hell out of you if you decide to spend your money that's in a healthcare savings account on fixing your car's transmission. It's already going to cost you $2,000, but the government's going to say, oh, well, geez, you didn't spend it on healthcare on you or your kids. You took it out to fix your car so you could go to work every day. So that bill's going to cost you $2,000 to fix it, plus another $1,000 tax. So now you're going to have to spend $3,000 for a $2,000 car. That is what the healthcare savings account is, folks. That is what is being touted by Sean Hannity. Look it up. That is why I'm telling you we don't need healthcare savings accounts that are sponsored and regulated by the government. Get the government out. You are going to want or should want the government to just repeal, forget, replace.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Six 603-835-3226. That is the number for you to utilize here on the Rod Eccles Show, should you wish to do so. Fox News. This is Fox News, U.S. News. Well, this is not a way to get government out of your healthcare system, but a 19-year-old teen male. 19, he's a teenager. 19-year-old male on his way to spring break in Florida is busted with 7 cases of beer and marijuana in his truck. So, cops say a 19-year-old University of Alabama student speeding toward some spring break festivities was arrested in Florida Friday. After cops say they found 7 cases of beer and marijuana in his pickup truck. Now Alden, A-L-D-E-N, Alden Whiteside, yes, his name is Whiteside, W-H-I-T-E-S-I-D-E, was stopped by the Okaloosa County Sheriff's deputies on Interstate 10 on suspicion of driving recklessly while he was on his way to the town of Destin, Florida. Deputy found the cases of natural light in Whiteside's truck as well as marijuana in the center console. Authorities said Whiteside was also carrying a fake driver's license. He was charged with possession of marijuana, possession of alcohol by someone under the age of 21, but he wasn't charged of anything for the fake. How else do you think he got the beer? Well, if he's 19, he had You're 19 years old and you got to have a fake license to buy booze. That's just sad. But that's our country, folks. It really is. But and doesn't say how much. I'm probably enough for himself. I have advocated on this program that we decriminalize marijuana. Yeah, I'm not. I don't smoke it. I don't advocate that people do smoke it. I don't smoke cigarettes either. I smoke cigars. I don't smoke cigarettes. Why is a choice? And we waste so much time with this inane stuff. We really do. We've got, the police officers have bigger, badder things in criminals. Do you realize how much time was taken away from these deputies being out in the street patrol in Florida at that, patrolling for real drug dealers by arresting this kid and having to process him? Why? Oh, because he was 19. He's an adult. He was 19 and he had some beer in his truck. He wasn't drinking it. He wasn't arrested on drunk driving or having internal possession. So he didn't drink it. He just had it in his truck. So he got arrested for it. And they get the what are they going to do with the beer? The cops going to throw a party with it? Well, they're obviously going to confiscate it. I mean, what a waste of time. Either you're an adult at 18 or you're not. We need to knock this shit off with this. Well, you're an adult except for this and this, so you got to wait till 21, and you can't rent a car because you're not really an adult at 21, and you're not an adult until you're 25. We've got all this age crap that is absolutely, on the other end, you can't discriminate against somebody because they're too old. But hey, we can discriminate all the hell out of people as an adult because they're too young. So either they're adults at 18 or they're not. And I say this because we give 18-year-olds what? The ability to vote. Well, if they cannot handle something as simple as alcohol, how the hell can they handle something as complicated as voting? Seriously, how hypocritical must we be? And is it really about public safety? Or is it about... Now, this kid is going to get fined up the wazoo for having beer and a little bit of pot in his truck. Do you think it's about, giving him a ticket and stopping him for suspicion of driving recklessly? If he's speeding, give him a speeding ticket. Obviously, they didn't give him a speeding ticket, according to this story. Well, we're trying to keep him from having to pay too much. Really? I know that there are people that say, well, no, Rod, we can't legalize pot. Why? Because you've bought into this stupid lie that was foisted upon the American people by none other than William Randolph Hearst. And he did it because hemp was a potential competitor to wood pulp. And that guy owned a ton of acreage of forest land used for wood pulp. And he owned a ton of newspapers, and a ton of other newspapers that he didn't own used his pulp paper. And he would have lost a shitload of money if hemp became popular for making paper. So what did he start doing? He started pressing, and he started writing all these columns and articles and op-ed pieces that denigrated pot and lied about it. And now to this day, you still have people say, well, pot is a gateway drug. No, it's not, because we probably today, literally, we have more, it is estimated there are more people that smoke pot than cigarettes. And yet we do not, those people who get into hard drugs, most of them have not smoked pot. In this state alone, we have this heroin and opioid epidemic. Most of the kids who get involved in this stuff didn't try pot first. They tried the hard drug first. So what happened to pot being the gateway drug? It's not true. Again, I'm not advocating that people run out and smoke pot. But it is a natural element. I mean, if you want to call it a weed, that's what it is. It's just a natural weed. And there was actually a story that goes along with this. It's a paper pile. Anyway, briefly, while I look for the story, what happened is evidently somewhere out west or Midwest, they found a field of pot plants growing, and they later determined that nobody was cultivating it because marijuana plants are actually a weed. It's self-cultivated. Call Rod now, 666-603-835-3226.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
I do not know why, but for some reason, that particular bumper always reminds me of Antonio Banderas. Yeah, you know how guys can have a what do they call it, a bro crush? You know, a lot of guys have a bro crush on Tom Brady. I don't. Yeah, he's a good football player. For some reason, I have this slight bro crush on Antonio Banderas. I've always. He's not the world's greatest actor by far. He's really not. He's not. I mean, he's a decent actor. But I just happen to, for whatever reason, I just happen to like Antonio Banderas. I like saying his name too, Antonio Banderas. He's he's a guy I'd probably like to have a beer with. Just sit down and chat with and yuck it up. I have no idea why Antonio, I can't even say it like an American. I have to say Antonio Banderas. Well, everybody else would say Antonio Banderas. I can't really. I just naturally have to say Antonio Banderas. I don't know why. I happen to think he's I don't know anything about him personally, really. I really don't. It's just his movie and TV persona that has captured my imagination, I guess you could say. He's a cool guy. Guys have their own bro crushes. Like I said, some guy, a lot of guys like Tom Brady. They want to be Tom Brady, or Chuck Norris. Well, back in his heyday, Chuck Norris is a badass. There are people who have bro crushes on Chuck Norris. Mine just happens to be Antonio Banderas. I have no idea why. I just happen to think he seems like he'd be a really fun, cool guy to hang out with. I could be wrong. He could be a total ass and a total jerk. I have no idea. I've never met him. Don't know what his personal life is like. But he just seems like a genuinely nice guy. And he's not. By the way, he's Spanish. For those of you who think that he might be he's Latino. No, he's not. He's a Spaniard. And yeah, there's a difference. What's it? Benicio del Toro? I do believe he's Latin, not Spanish. But Antonio Banderas is a Spaniard. So maybe that's the difference. I have no idea. In any case, like Meredith Valguera, she's also a Latino. She's not Spanish. Okay, that's a gorgeous woman there. Not gonna lie, she really is. What is she? She's on. What is it? The TV show that she's on, Modern Family, right? I don't watch that show. That's what she's on, Modern Family. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know who that is, she's the trophy wife, right? Of one of the characters of who else is on that program? What's his face? The guy who was Ted Bundy. Remember the Bundy clan? It was a Fox show on for a few years. It was big hit for one of Fox networks, the fledgling network's biggest hits of the day. Ted Bundy. He's the guy who's the husband of Meredith Valguera now. And obviously, he's older, and she's younger, so that's why I said trophy wife. But anyway, I've seen a few episodes of it. It never really caught my attention. You know, it would catch my attention if they put Antonio Banderas on it. Then I'd watch it. Just a note to Hollywood out there. I don't know. Anyway, back to the real news. Detroit Free Press is reporting that Dearborn, Michigan cops use fake Facebook profile to track gun advocates. Well, we've known that the police, various police departments, including federal policing agencies like the FBI, they have these so-called fake, quote unquote, fake profiles on social media. And some people have asked and have wondered if what they're doing is nothing more than an electronic means of entrapment. It's a legit question. And again, I'm not throwing down or throwing shade on our law enforcement, but there is a question about how far do police go in order to so-called protect society. I mean, do you entice? Are they really enticing people to do criminal acts that these people that are entrapped in this kind of thing wouldn't have thought to do these criminal acts if the cops who are portraying themselves as being nefarious individuals didn't connect with them first? It is a legit question. So in other words, if somebody is on the edge out there, and you know, they might spout off all kinds of weird or strange, what you and I might consider to be weird or strange stuff, but they never act upon it. They never do anything. And mostly probably because they don't know anybody that could help them out. And all of a sudden, you got this police officer who is a detective who sees this and decides, well, we're going to go see if this guy's a real threat. And they strike up a conversation and they start telling this guy, well, maybe he should think about it and do it more. And then finally, the guy does it, and then they pounce on him and arrest him. But so the question is, would he committed a crime if the cops never enticed him to do it? That is a legit question. How far can our police departments, our policing agencies go to protect us? Are they really protecting us, or are they inciting and making criminals where there originally were none? And that is the crux of this question. And it happened in Dearborn. A lawyer says Dearborn police using Facebook profile name Olivia secretly monitored a network of Second Amendment activists and ambushed two of them who filmed themselves walking into a police headquarters last month. Now, if you've probably seen this YouTube video where these two guys, one of them comes in, evidently legally carrying a firearm. He walks into a police station where the police officers were waiting for them. So these two guys, I don't know what the hell they were doing. I guess they wanted to prove a point. But the police department says, well, we're going to teach these guys a lesson. A lesson for what? For legally carrying a firearm? This whole thing is so convoluted. And of course, you can't get the real story out of the lamestream media. But here is what I have gathered from multiple sources is the real story. Again, I'm not exactly sure because it's hard to get the real story on this kind of stuff when it comes to the lamestream media because they don't want to report all the facts because the lamestream media is so leftist and they're anti-gun, legal gun ownership as well. By the way, New Hampshire is now a constitutional carry state. If you can legally own a firearm, you don't need a permit to walk around with a concealed firearm in New Hampshire. That makes northern New England, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine constitutional carry states, region. And we border two states that are very difficult to get firearms. And one of them in particular, Massachusetts, is nearly draconian when it comes to it. But you have in Michigan where it would be very difficult to pass certain types of gun legislation in Michigan because it's really two different states. You go You get out of the lower part of the state, which they call the Lower Peninsula, where Dearborn and Detroit and all that kind of, and all those places are located. It's very different from if you cross the Straits of Mackinac and go across the Mackinac Bridge up into northern Michigan, otherwise known as the UP or the Upper Peninsula, where people are far more, shall we say, freedom-loving. You know, the biggest city is Marquette, and that's what, about 30 or 40,000 people? That's it. I mean, it's all rural, you know, nothing but forested land. Hell, it's difficult for game wardens to do their jobs up there because nobody talks, and everybody, you know, they hunt out a season, which is fine because there's a ton of deer up there. They fish out a season, and a lot of times, you know, these game wardens don't try to arrest these people for reasons of personal safety. But, you know, just think of the movie Deliverance, but only in northern Michigan. That's what you got. So here down in the lower peninsula, you got these guys who are walking around legally carrying a firearm. They decide, well, let's just prove our point and walk into a police station and talk to some police officers, and they're met with near violence. And this all happened because evidently the Dearborn police have a Facebook account where they're monitoring people. And they're getting people to do certain things that they probably otherwise wouldn't do normally, or to follow people that they really have no reason to follow in the first place. And this, I guess, this was one of the, instead of telling these people, these two guys, look, there might be a law or a reason why we don't want you walking into a police station with your firearm. They could have prevented the whole issue just by saying, look, we understand about your gun rights, but here is the law. If you do this, you're going to be arrested. No, I mean, they could say, well, if they maybe it would have led them to do something more violent. Yeah, I guess you could argue that. But really, if you know that they're coming, do you ambush them the way you did? Or do you just explain the whole thing to them? Nicholas Somberg, who represents 40-year-old Brandon Vreeland, Vreeland of Jackson, Michigan, said on the February 5th incident was a political witch hunt as his client James Baker, 24, of Leonard, Michigan, were arrested. In a YouTube video, you could see Baker can be seen in a black ski mask. I don't know why the frick he was wearing a ski mask, but with a short-barreled rifle slung over his chest and a semi-automatic pistol strapped to his hip. Now, Vreeland had on body armor but left his gun in the car, instead bringing along cameras to videotape the encounter that was about to take place. Now, after the discovery, it is very clear that Dearborn police knew that they were coming. They knew who these two men were, and they planned the ambush. Plain and simple. Somberg said it's not that they were reacting to a situation they thought was going to be violent. They actually knew it was not going to be violent, said the lawyer. They knew who they were, and they just wanted to teach these guys a lesson, quote unquote, from the police department. So they knew it was coming. They knew they were coming. They knew they could have diffused the situation before they got into the police department. But the reason why they let this continue is to teach them a lesson. Now imagine if all of a sudden somebody got trigger happy and a mistake was made because they wanted to teach these guys a lesson. What lesson were they teaching them? That you don't follow the law? That you don't carry a gun when you can legally do so? Is that the lesson? Again, look. There's nobody who's a bigger supporter of law and order than me. But when there is overreach, I'm also going to be one of the first people to point it out. Why? Why? There is so much other stuff out there that you need to be focused on and concentrating on. Police departments. Why is it that otherwise normal, law-abiding citizens are the ones that always get ensnared and entrapped with bogus charges? For what? Doing nothing more than practicing their constitutional rights. That's a major issue with me. And it should be with all of you out there listening. Because this kind of thing can happen to any one of you at any time for any reason, simply because, I don't know, the police department or the police chief wants to teach you a lesson. It's not what they're there for. You know, I know it varies from state to state, whatever the gun laws are. So you got to follow whatever your state says is the law. And if it's illegal for you to walk into a police station with a firearm, loaded or unloaded, then don't do it. But if there's no law restricting you from doing it, it may not be, a wise thing to do. But if it's legal for you to do so, then the overreaction and overreach of the police department should be smacked and smacked hard. Now, in this particular case, if they did not break any law by carrying a gun, whether loaded or unloaded, into a police department that they were legally able to have, and the police department, with the police chief knowing that this was going to happen, designed this entrapment, the police chief needs to be fired because he broke the law. Plain and simple. Everybody needs to uphold the law, especially the police. They don't get to break the law in the name of upholding the law. That's anarchy, folks. That leads to anarchy. That is I'm sorry. I don't care if you're a cop, former cop. You do not get to break the law, break one law in order to uphold another law. That's not the way it works. It is not necessary. If that is necessary, then that means we have too many damn laws. Really, that's exactly what that means. I mean, people should be able to legally interact with law enforcement officers without the fear of being entrapped or ensnared or being taught a lesson. Really. Again, they evidently wanted to have a conversation with the police about lawful carry. Because evidently some of the people in Michigan who are lawful carry were continually being harassed by police officers for open carry. And they wanted to have a conversation. They went about it wrong. I'll agree that was kind of a stupid move, but they still didn't break any laws. So what was the police chief? What was the lesson the police chief was trying to infer on these two individuals? That the police get to make up the rules? And this is why the case is going to go forward. I don't know, folks. I mean, this is you get big government, and then big government gets hypocritical, and it puts our lives in danger. It really does.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, But now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
603-835-3226. There is a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania man who is suing a New York City bar. Now, why is he suing a New York City bar? Well, he's suing a New York City bar after he says he was denied service because he was wearing a hat supporting Donald J. Trump. Well, hey, you can obviously be sued for not baking a cake for a lesbian couple and be sued out of business. You can even be sued for not catering a gay wedding, even though you don't cater anything. If you're a pizza parlor, a pizza parlor can be sued for not catering a gay wedding, even though they don't offer catering services. So why not? The New York Post reports that Greg Patek says in the lawsuit that Patek, P-I-A-T-E-K, that he and his friends were initially served drinks at the happiest hour on January 28th, but he says once a bartender noticed his "Make America Great Again" hat, he asked Patek if it was a joke. He said a second round of drinks was slammed down on the bar. The suit claims a manager later asked Patek to leave, saying he was told by the bar owner that anyone who supports Trump or believes what you believe is not welcome here. The bar didn't immediately respond to a request for... Now, come on, folks. One, it's funny, but true, it's funny because of how hypocritical the left is. It's rather amazing and funny that you have a bar owner, of all people, that would be a leftist. I mean, hey, lefties don't want you to drink anyway, right? Well, neither do some of the right, but lefties don't want you to drink. Alcohol is bad for you, I guess. But, hey, as long as you, I guess you better not be a Trump supporter if you want to have an imbibing of beer, because they don't want to serve you.
The following program is recommended for mature individuals and may contain material unsuitable for morons, cretins, and dishwipes. If you are a moron or a member of the PTL Club, please turn off your radio, because we don't need any more stupid, narrow-minded, pencil-neck geeks who wouldn't know the First Amendment if it came up and bit them on the butt. Thank you.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive,
sexist, and racist. And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow, they pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 here on the Rod Eccles Show. Unbelievable. Hour 3 already. Fastest 3 hours in Internet Talk Radio is right here as we broadcast from the great granite state where the state motto is still live free or die. 603-835-3226 is the call-in number. It's again at 603-835-3226. Should you wish to utilize that, that'll be, that's the number that you use. Hey, remember in the Oscars, the actress Joy Villa, was it V-I-L-L-A? She wore the Trump dress, the Make America Great red, white, and blue dress. Now, she's still getting a little bit of flack for that, but here's the deal. She paid for that. A lot of the female stars running around the Oscars that night, they didn't fully pay at all for those gowns, those overly expensive gowns that they wore, and all that jewelry that was hanging off their ears and wrists and pocketbooks and things like that. She did. It's amazing how people who don't pay for their own stuff, how they can advocate for, well, obviously that's why they advocate for other people to and higher taxes and stuff, so they keep getting free stuff. They don't have to pay for anything. And notice how people that do pay for everything, they need to, they want to make sure that they have the money to be able to pay for their own way and not have government take their money from them and give it to somebody else. Not a big deal. I find it amazing how you can chastise somebody for having somebody or having something expensive. Well, somebody obviously has to buy it, right? I know we on the right too. We've done this. You could chastise Michelle Obama for and Hillary Clinton for having a $12,000 jacket. And the reason why we chastise them is because we have these wonderful people that always run around talking about how the rich never give enough. Well, the problem is that they're getting all this stuff for free. Now Clinton didn't spend $12,000 for that jacket. But hey, but people are they love having. Well, it didn't. Wasn't it a big deal that Ivanka Trump had some clothing line or was it jewelry that she was wearing? And it was hers. It would be. I guess it would have been okay. What was she on 60 Minutes when she had this piece of jewelry on that everybody said that she was flaunting? I don't think that she personally advertised it. She said, "This is my piece of jewelry. Buy it, buy it." She didn't say that on 60 Minutes. So, but if it were, I don't know, a Louis Vuitton bracelet, would that have been okay? Somebody would have mentioned it if it was a Louis. She was wearing a Louis. That's a beautiful Louis Vuitton bracelet. There you have on Ivanka. But because it was her own design, that made it taboo. You can wear somebody else's, but you can't wear your own. I mean, that makes no sense. If she's wearing her own, she paid for it. If she's hawking it for Louis Vuitton, she probably wouldn't have paid for it. They would have given it to her. And this is the way it works. If it's not your own, you can hawk it. If it's your own, it's just gauche. It's terrible for you to hawk your own stuff. Well, I mean, that's it's why I don't like Hollywood. But a bunch of hypocritical, fake a-holes out there, and they want to continue to trash on this beautiful woman who paid for her own damn dress to go to the Oscars. And the only reason why they're chastising her for it is because, the dress says it was in support of Donald Trump. Make America great again. Hey, look at it this way. Hollywood should want the public to have money. Because when the public has disposable income, because they have good jobs due to a good economy, they go to the movies more. And they spend that $15 a ticket so you can make $30 million for doing one movie picture. You idiotic, a-hole Hollywood elitist you. You do realize that the only way you get money is you entice enough regular people out there to go spend that stupid amount of money on a ticket to see you act up on the big screen. Without those so-called fans, you have nothing. But you want to put them down every chance you get. It's amazing. It really is amazing. All that stuff is amazing. And that's why I don't like Hollywood stars and the elites. I just don't. You know what? Hey, Antonio Banderas is probably a big lib. I don't know if he is or isn't, but he probably is. But I still like him. And because he hasn't opened his mouth, I don't know where he stands politically, so it's okay for me to say I still like him. Now, if he turns out to be like, a Tom Cruise or Matt Damon or somebody, then, there goes one of my favorite actors, I guess. I've already had to do that I've already had to cut off Will Smith. He opened his mouth up one too many times and said some really stupid liberal stuff too many times, so I had to cut off Will Smith. Yeah, I used to want to have a beer with Will, but not anymore. It's just the way it goes. These people, they open their mouths and they really reveal how arrogant they are. And it gets to the point where you just can't take it anymore. You really can't with them. So you just gotta. That's why I always say, if you're an actor or an actress, keep your mouth shut. Really, because believe it or not, there are far more conservative fans out there than liberal fans. And if you piss off your conservative fans, well, you're going to cut your income in more than in half. It's just the way it is. So I don't. Do you really believe that BS that you're spreading, or are you actually saying it because everybody else in Hollywood is saying the same thing? I don't know. I just say keep your mouth shut, unless somebody wrote you a script. But speaking of script. Here is another script being written, an end to an era, so says the Seattle Times. The Starbucks CEO, Howard Schultz, is calling it quits. Yes, Howard Schultz steps down as CEO of Starbucks on April 2nd. The 63-year-old Howard Schultz is stepping down from his second stint at the helm of the Starbucks brand, the company that he built into a global empire. The first time he left, an overexpanding Starbucks crashed into a sharp recession, and he returned to put the company back on its rails. And now he's this wonderful Starbucks coffee folk hero. And everybody looks up to this guy on the left. They have stars in their eyes every time they see Howard Schultz. This time, however, he leaves his CEO position, but questions again loom about Starbucks, about their growth prospects, and his own future as an advocate for social causes. Perhaps, so says the author of this piece, perhaps, who is Janet Tu, that's T-U is her name. Janet Tu, T-U is how you spell her last name. Just T-U. So I'm assuming it's two. But she writes with stars in her own eyes. What about his future as an advocate for social causes? And will he be a political candidate in the near future? There are a lot of liberals who look to Howard Schultz as, he's so dreamy. I'm guessing he'd be the new Bill Clinton without the sexual scandals. Because that's what kind of a leftist idiot this guy is. I mean, he's like an Al Franken. He's just a total nut job when it comes to, and he's hypocritical by being, because Starbucks is a rather profitable company. Who else runs around selling coffee for $4 when you could buy the same damn coffee over at Dunkin' Donuts for $2, or a mom and pop coffee shop for less than that? This is ridiculous. It's overpriced coffee. Yeah, I like Starbucks. It's very good coffee, but is it worth $4 or more? Is it worth $5 a cup? I don't think so. Is it worth giving my hard-earned money to somebody who basically has said before that they've hated our military? I don't think so. And I know some people will say, well, he does care about the military. He's in the military. No, those are publicity stunts, not because he got caught saying something stupid, so he tried to repair the damage by sending the military coffee. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is a guy that says, well, we are going to hire over the next 5 years 10,000 illegal refugees and illegal immigrants. That is the most. Why not just give the jobs to real Americans? See, asinine. Well, we do give jobs to Americans, and we give them to. No, they don't. You know how difficult it is if you're an American and English is your first language. You know how difficult it is to get a job as a barista. If you're not in college. I mean, if you're out of college, well, I guess you're not a hipster, so you're not in the trenches. You're not down with the struggle for that hipsters are down for. So it's difficult if you're not between the ages of, say, 17 and 25, and English is your first language, or not your first language. Then you're gonna have a difficult time getting a Starbucks job. Yeah, I want to be a barista for really. And and he's another one of those guys that advocates for a $15 minimum wage. But Starbucks doesn't pay its low-end people $15 an hour. It's lower than that. How is it that you walk around saying that you're for a $15 minimum wage, and yet you don't pay your own people $15 an hour? Are you saying you really need the government to tell you what to do? Is that it? Is that what liberals are saying? They know that they are not disciplined enough to do what's right on their own. They have to have the power of government compel them to do the right thing. They believe that paying somebody a living wage and a minimum of $15 an hour is the right thing to do, yet most of them don't do it. They don't do it. So they're telling you they have to be compelled by the power and force of the government to do the right thing, which is why they want to elect the people that'll force them to do the right thing. I mean, it's really it's so I can't make this stuff up, folks. It is so asinine. The next time some business CEO or business owner advocates for a minimum wage hike up to $15 an hour, ask if they're already paying their people $15. Because, hey, it doesn't matter about the profit margin. If it's a good idea and a good thing to do, should they not do it? Forego the profit. Well, hey, my competitors don't have to pay that. Well, so what? That means your competitors aren't doing the right thing. That means that you can go ahead and advertise and market your business as doing the right thing and saying you're paying all of your workers get a living wage, but over there, competitor A and competitor B, they're stingy, mean, cruel people. They only care about their own pockets and profits, and they're only paying their people, $8 or $10 an hour. Hey, if there are a lot of people out there who believe what you believe, then they're going to come around and say, you know what, we're going to shop at the places paying a living wage to everybody. The problem is that these asinine idiots don't believe a word that's coming out of their own mouths, and that is why they need somebody in government to force them to do what they say that they want to do on their own, but refuse to do. So this is the same thing with Howard Schultz. They're out there saying, oh, please, Howard, run, so you make us do what we know what we should be doing anyway. I mean, this stuff is just asinine. But hey, if this is what you want to fall into, I guess, yeah, you can't make this stuff up, folks. It is what it is.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
A couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Welcome back, folks. Sorry, I'm just, just reading some of the stuff that's in the chat room over on the Spreaker site. Thanks, Kevin. the Echolator, huh? Superhero stuff, folks. You wouldn't understand unless you're a superhero fan. I'm watching the series now of Iron Fist, and I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm growing more and more disappointed because the rank, they're making these heroes out to be absolutely and totally and completely stupid. I mean, just so stupid. It's frustrating to watch this happen, and it isn't because that you know I know the whole. Like I said, the Defenders, Luke Cage and Iron Fist are not characters that I followed when I was in the comic books. I didn't follow those two, but I know better. As far as you're out to be a. Well, I don't want to give away the plot, but let me just say, if you're out to destroy an enemy, a particular type of enemy, and you have an opportunity to do so, but then for purely selfish reasons, because you want to know what happened to one person in your life, you don't destroy the enemy, and then the enemy doesn't end up telling you what happened to that one person. Happens over and over again. The sheer stupidity. I don't get it. I don't get why they write stories this way. It's kind of frustrating. I would like. Well, Rod, because that makes them more human. Really, I don't think most normal. Well, I guess maybe most normal humans can be pretty stupid at times, right? It's frustrating. I like to see smart, not brilliant people, but just halfway smart people. And these superheroes have amazing superpowers, and they're stupid with them. It's frustrating to watch it. It really is. But I guess that's just how Hollywood thinks that we are. These are real people dealing with real issues, Rod. This is how real people deal with real issues, and stupidly. Well, I guess they possibly do. Speaking of real issues, Mexico thinks that they have found a way to counter Donald Trump. Yes. They think that they have found a way to counter our good, because Donald Trump is out there talking about Mexico's going to pay for the wall, and he's going to renegotiate NAFTA and redo this and redo that, and everybody's out there saying, well, Mexico's backs up against the wall. There's nothing that Mexico really has that the United States really wants. They can't. They're not in a very good negotiating position. So when Trump is out there saying, okay, this auto company is now not going to build a plant in Mexico now. They're going to expand a plant here and keep all these jobs here. And Mexico gets upset because of it, because they see all those jobs that disappear when they promise their own people, oh, yes, we are going to get jobs. Jobs are coming to Mexico, man. And then they don't come because Trump gets in the way. Well, that makes them upset in the governmental leadership in Mexico because they've been promising people jobs. Jobs instead of growing their own economy, they've been trying to steal it from the U.S. and Canada. And so Trump has stepped in and said, well, that's not going to happen anymore, and you're going to pay for the wall. And Mexico is really upset by that, saying, we're not paying for any effing wall, man. And Trump wants to renegotiate NAFTA. Well, Mexico is all about, we're not going to do this, and we're not going to do that, and we're not going to do this. We're going to jump up and down and scream and shake our fist, and then send our politicians across the border to talk to illegal people over there in the United States and tell them that we're going to do this for them, and they have a right to be there, and all this kind of garbage. And so now Mexico thinks that they have a leg up. They think they have a strong arm position now. Yes, Mexico thinks that they now are in a position of strength to negotiate with Donald Trump. It's actually kind of laughable, but because if they did pull the trigger on this, they'd be shooting themselves in the foot. It's amazing. I'll tell you exactly what it is right after the break, so don't go anywhere.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
Bring the rain.
Not believe what today. Well, today is the 21st of March, but the holiday, the national and international holidays for today are there is a plethora of them. Let's run down the list really quick, shall we? Holidays for today, Tuesday, March 21st, in the year of our Lord 2017. International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, aka International Day for the Elimination of Racism. It is also the International Day of Forest, a.k.a. World Forestry Day. It is also Memory Day. Did you remember that today is Memory Day? Not memory, memory. It is also National California Strawberry Day. It is also National Fragrance Day, where you wear beautiful fragrances or infragrate, is that a word, infragrate? Your surroundings with beautiful light fragrances. It is also, by that token, it is also National Flower Day. So you can have great fragrance with flowers, natural flowers. It is also Common Courtesy Day. National Common Courtesy Day. Well, I mean, I don't think it's a common courtesy to put it so far down the list. It should be right up there. It should be like number 1 or number 2. Everybody should be courteous to one another. There's an actual Common Courtesy Day. Yeah, that's today. There's also a National Day of Action on Syringe Exchange. What? Yeah, I'm not making this stuff up. It's also World Down Syndrome Day. And hey, for those of you who have these in your home, it is National Teenager Day. Now, I don't know what you're supposed to do with that. You're supposed to take a teen out to dinner or something, I guess? I don't know. It's National Teenager Day today. It's also National French Bread Day. But it's not National French Bread Day in France. It's National French Bread Day in the USA. Why would it not be at least National French Bread Day in France, where the French bread comes from? It's National Single Parents Day as well today. So if you're a single parent, this is your day. It's also World Puppetry Day, and not to be outdone with puppets. It's also World Poetry Day. So you could say your poetry with a puppet. And it's also, finally, it is also March 21st is also World Social Work Day. Those are all that's what's happening today as far as holidays that are today. Go out and celebrate any one of those. Have a beer on any one of those, or alcoholic beverage of choice, or non-alcoholic beverage of choice. If you go out and have a drink that's made of lavender or something, for Fragrance Day. Unbelievable, all the different. Today is a well holidayed day. Anyway, Mexico thinks that they have found a way to. By the way, did you know that Fox pulled Judge Napolitano from the air after his Trump report the other day? I guess I haven't had a chance to really look into it. I don't often watch Judge Napolitano, but I know he was a Fox contributor, so we'll probably get into that tomorrow, because I don't think we'll have time to delve into it today. But Mexico has identified a potential weapon in its trade tirade and wrangle with the U.S. and with President Donald Trump. Yes, Mexico thinks they found a weapon. It's with American yellow corn. Yes, Mexico imports billions of dollars worth of the yellow grain from the United States to feed its livestock every year. But with Trump pushing to shake up the country's trade ties, Mexico is now threatening to buy its corn grain elsewhere. Now, of course, this is worrying some corn growers in some of the very same U.S. states that voted heavily in favor of Trump, like Iowa, North Dakota, Kansas, Missouri, and Nebraska. Well, all you have to do, guys, if you're selling all this grain to Mexico and they don't want to buy it from you anymore, just turn it into ethanol, right? No, isn't that what we've been doing with corn? And some of our excess corn is turning it into fuel. Well, now you can turn it into more biofuel. Because Mexico is threatening to go buy their corn, their yellow corn, to feed its livestock from Brazil or Argentina. Yes. However, the problem is Mexico is going to shoot themselves in the foot because they can buy that grain from the U.S. for about $198 a ton or less, says Juan Carlos Anaya, who's head of the Agricultural Markets Consulting Group, a Mexican research firm. Brazilian corn cost over $210 a ton, and Argentinian corn cost over $217 a ton. So Mexico is willing to pay hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars more, causing their food costs to rise for their poor little citizens that won't be able to cross the border because Donald Trump will have built a wall to help keep them out. They're going to shoot. Again, I have said this. Mexico has no leg to stand on. Hell, you don't want to buy our corn. Do you know how many other countries in the world would be willing to buy our corn at $198 or a little bit less a ton? Our farmers aren't going to lose anything. And if whatever tonnage that they cannot sell will just get converted into ethanol or fuel, any biofuel anyway, so they'll still sell the corn. It's not going to be a devastating to our economy or crops. The only people it's going to hurt is Mexicans. I mean, literally. So when I say that Mexico doesn't have a leg to stand on when it comes to this trade renegotiating stuff with Trump, they obviously just did one of the worst things you could possibly do. They revealed their Trump card, as it were, way too soon. And they revealed how weak that Trump card is. Now, what are they going to do? Are they going to is Mexico going to refuse to send us tequila? I don't think that we would really miss a lot of not having tequila. Everybody wants Patron is tequila, right? Yeah, everybody wants Patron, right? I don't think that's gonna affect us. Is Hennessy tequila? I don't know what Hennessy is. I know everybody wants to drink have some Hennessy or some Patron. Those are the two things that if you're a rapper, you buy it by the big bottle. That was a bottle service. Was it like $100 a bottle or something for that crap? I don't like anybody's tequila, so it really isn't going to affect me if we don't have tequila. Margaritas, Rod. Well, I didn't. You know what? I'll substitute tequila with vodka in just about anything. I am not a tequila. Tequila is just nasty. I don't like it. I really don't. Well, a lot of people do. Well, great. Go to Mexico and get it. I don't think it's going to be that much of a loss. It'd be more of a loss to Mexico and Mexican agave growers and tequila makers than it would be for U.S. consumers. We'll find something else to drink. We always, hey, America is made up of a bunch of alcoholics. We'll always find something else to drink. No, hey, we try to help Mexico out. We celebrate Cinco de Mayo in the USA. It's a big drinking day here. They don't really celebrate Cinco de Mayo in Mexico, but we celebrate it here. And what do? We eat a lot of tacos and drink a lot of tequila-based drinks here. So, and those tequila-based drinks have tequila from Mexico in them. So we celebrate a holiday about Mexico that even Mexico doesn't really celebrate very heavily, but we do. And you want to piss us off by not buying our corn. Okay. Fine. Then, we don't celebrate Cinco de Mayo anymore. 5th of May. No more tequila, so we can't. No more Taco Tuesday. Although I don't think we really get anything from Mexico for Taco Tuesday anyway, so I guess that wouldn't be affected. Hey, all that yellow corn that's going to Mexico to feed their cows, well, it can stay here now and be turned into taco shells for Taco Tuesday. I'm sorry. They just don't. They really have a very weak stance. Mexico does right now. We don't even really need their oil. Mexico has got some oil. We don't even need that. So the point is that Trump knows all this, and these people Mexicans are in a very poor. Look, they have had all this time with NAFTA to make themselves a heavyweight. And I have mentioned this, I don't know how many times. Mexico could have made themselves a heavyweight economy in Central and South America. But yet instead they tried to continue to be a vampire, sucking off of North American countries of the USA and Canada. Instead of developing their own industry, they tried to suck the industry out of the USA and Mexico. And now that they've been caught with this, they have nowhere to go. Mexico was ripe for being the king of Central and South America as far as their economies were concerned. They had the population base. They had the landmass base. They had the natural resource base. They even had the assets of having allies of the U.S. and Canada. And they blew it. So this is not the U.S.'s fault. We gave Mexico everything it could possibly want to become a major North American powerhouse and run the economies of Central and South America, and they chose not to do it. And now they want to cry about, it's not fair that you're going to do this. Well, fine, we just won't buy your corn. Great, we'll sell it to somebody else. This is asinine, folks. It really is. But hey, they've done it to themselves. I don't feel sorry for them, not at all, not one bit. Somebody else I don't feel sorry for is New Yorkers. Yes, New Yorkers, as in New York City. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Boost in ridership leaves New York's Penn Station platforms overly packed. Many weekday commuters struggle to exit trains as the number of riders is increasing, and construction compounds the problem. New York City has been trying to get people to stop driving their cars into New York City. But the problem is that they did not build out their infrastructure to handle the increased capacity of people taking public transportation. And so they've been pushing people to take public transportation without increasing the amount of capacity that public transportation system could handle. And now people are wondering, well, why am I stuck? I can't get on a train. I can't get off a train. I can't get on a bus. I can't get off a bus. I'm late for work all the time or appointment. And they wonder why. Well, the problem is because your stupid liberal government, who was pushing for alternative, public transportation modes for you to get out of your car and stop driving across the George Washington Bridge and the Lincoln Tunnel and all that kind of stuff, and stop clogging the streets of New York City, drop your car and start walking and taking public transportation. So when you do that, they didn't make room for you. This is funny. It's hilarious. This is going to put a crimp on tourism too. Because every time I've gone to New York City, I haven't driven in New York City. I've taken the train in. I've driven to a suburb outside in Connecticut or someplace, and I've taken the train in. And I've learned how to navigate the subway system in New York, as well as the bus system. And that's what getting around New York City. The few times I've been there, 3 or 4 times I've been there, I've just used public transportation. I didn't drive in. I'd be asked. It's stupid to drive in. The first time I did go, we did drive in, but it was on a coach, a bus, mega bus or something like that. One of those buses. I don't recommend that, by the way. Just a pain in the ass. But in any case, people want to utilize the public transportation system in New York to get around New York. But the blusterous de Blasio hasn't, as he has called for people to do the right thing for the environment and ditch their car and take public transportation, he hasn't done anything to increase capacity. Sure, there is some construction going on now, and it's going on in places that is perpetual construction. Like parts of Grand Central Station always seem to be under construction. I don't know. Every time I've gone in, these parts of Grand, seems like the same part is under construction. I never see anybody working either. But it's, everything's all cordoned off as a construction zone. But I never see anybody working. So what are they actually doing besides causing everybody to be late for work or appointments? Can't make this stuff up.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
So if you are in New York, it's taking you longer to get around town via public transportation because everybody is doing their duty as a good New York citizen of New York City and ditching their cars, and yet public transportation can't handle them. That'd be like Boston wanted to do something similar. They wanted to put toll roads up into the city, toll booths up coming in. So you'd have to pay an arm and a leg to drive into the city, because the traffic inside of, especially in places in downtown Boston and Back Bay, was ridiculous. It is ridiculous. They spent billions of dollars on this new artery, roadway system to try to handle the traffic, and it didn't work. So now they want to. They're looking at ideas of if people have to pay more, an exorbitant amount to drive, then they'll take public transportation. Problem is that public transportation system, the way it is right now, would not be able to hold the capacity, wouldn't be able to handle it. And Boston hasn't done any real solid expansion or upgrades in decades to their public transportation system. They extended part of the Blue Line or something like that. But do you know that the only way to get to Logan International Airport is by car or by bus? Car would be taxi, but if you drive yourself, the ridiculous parking rate, over $50 a day to park there. Who can do that? Or you take a taxi. You can't get picked up by Uber there. I think an Uber can drive you and drop you off, but you can't get picked up by Uber or Lyft or anybody at the. It has to be a taxi or a limousine. Or you get the bus system. Now the bus will take you can take you back and forth to that you got to pay for. It could take you back and forth to South Station or North Station for the trains, and where you can connect to the various. But there is no train system or T that goes directly to the airport, which is really kind of odd. A major international airport, and they restrict your ability to. You can't even walk. You realize that you can't walk up to. Most major airports, there's no way for you to walk to it. You can't walk up to the terminal. There are no sidewalks. There is no ability for you to walk. And if you want to, you definitely no ability at Logan. You have to walk literally in the street. If you can't. In the way they've got everything situated, and there's no way for you to walk. None. You have got to be picked up by some sort of vehicle, which doesn't seem to fit the whole realm of wanting to make things, more earth-friendly. But Boston's Logan International Airport, it is the most convoluted system, transportation system to get in and out of Logan that I have, out of any airport that I have been to so far. And I've started to experience a lot of different airports in this country. And so far, by far, Logan is the worst. It really is. And it's a major, the city of Boston was 600,000 people. The metro Boston area is well over, 5 million people in the metro, in the so-called metro zone of the Boston metro. It's a lot. It's millions of people. And this is what this airport services. And yet, it is so bad. It really is. It's just awful. But hey, this is, these are people, it's a leftist city, and it doesn't live up to what they tell everybody else that they want everybody else to live up to. It can't fulfill it. Because they don't build it that way. Somehow there's some sort of disconnect when it comes to that kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know why. But there is. In any event, hey, don't forget tomorrow or this afternoon, folks, pay attention to those people who are the talking heads. See what they talk about. Guarantee they're going to fill your day up with more of this, the Trump wiretapping stuff. Red herring, red herring, red herring. Until then, anyway, we'll be back in 21 hours. I'm out of time for today. We'll catch you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Rod Eccles. I am out.
Damn, it feels good to be Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Lapdogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain why it is what they done or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled. and you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For Clinton, what's loaded in some fat apple file? A Clinton plays the victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A server full of secrets ain't no thing. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Nothing ever hits with the sting.